Hi, my name is Blair Lee, and thanks for tuning into This is Homeschooling. Finding balance is the topic of this episode, and I really want to thank you for tuning in to listen to it because it's important. It's important for your mental health, and it's important for all the people who are in your sphere, including your kids. Finding balance is one of the essential components to everyone feeling happy and engaged while homeschooling. So I've got plenty of advice and tips woven through this video. So let's get started. It's important that you find a place of balance. If you don't, burnout can happen, and your children might struggle with who is responsible for your burnout and for your stress. They might think it's them. The good news is that there are strategies that can help. And hey, these strategies have the benefit of being things it's good to model for your children anyway. Things like using a growth mindset, effective self evaluations, modeling positive self talk, letting your best be good enough, and the art of letting go. One day you're a parent, and the next day you're a parent who's responsible for planning and implementing an amazing, empowering, splendiferous learning adventure for your child. You might even be working at a job outside of parenting and homeschooling, as I was. The roles of parent, teacher, and employee, even if you're self employed, each come with their own set of responsibilities and expectations. When combined, these roles can create a complex landscape where finding equilibrium becomes essential. It can be helpful to start when you're looking to find balance to think of each of these separately in order to plan for where they overlap, sort of like this huge Venn diagram where the first thing you do is occupy each space individually where they don't overlap. From the standpoint of parent finding balance, a primary thing to consider for homeschoolers is how you're going to handle it as a parent when there are issues with your child as a student. And this isn't in the part of overlap. My advice is that you deal with the issue or behavior as if your child were going to traditional school and you were not their teacher. I recommend that you be consistent with this. Another issue that can become a problem is if you get in a habit of not doing school. Sometimes this happens because of deschooling, or a parent who's been unschooling decides to add more structure to their academics. Most people often come to see saying, "Help me, I don't know what to do. My child is acting out." And of course they are. Of course they're going to push back. You're changing the rules on them, you're changing the lines. This ends up being a parenting issue because of those behaviors from your child. Again, come up with a plan and stick to it. Think to yourself, if my child were behaving, treating somebody else like this, what would I do? It might not be fun in the short term, but with consistency around the new structure you're implementing, it will become routine. Now, several times in this, I'm going to share stories with you. And I have a story along those lines. One of my grandsons comes to our house a lot after school. In part, both his parents work, and he does this in part of the reason comes to our house is that everyone wants me to be the person he does his homework with. Now, I am not stricter. I don't get more aggravated than the rest of the family. In fact, I don't get aggravated at all. I'm just really matter of fact about prioritizing homework with no nagging gyrations to make that happen. I'm the parent, I'm the person, the adult in his life who walks into the room and says, "Why are you on your screen? I'm pretty sure you haven't done your homework. You know the rules." Puts his screen down. Everybody else, it's push, 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 including with my spouse. His friend was over the other day and or toward the end of the last school year, and he started trying to push my buttons. They were both working on schoolwork before they could go out and play. And I told him, that's not going to work with me. And my grandson said to him, "Don't even bother. She was a teacher." His friend said to me, "You were a teacher?" And I said, "Yes." He looked at my grandson and said, Then I guess we just need to do our homework. My point is, prioritizing academic work like that can lead to significantly more equanimity in your life. When your kids get used to certain rules and you don't lose your temper, so there's nobody's buttons are being pushed. They just say, okay, yeah. When your dreams are tied up in your endeavors, it makes balance harder as you try to control the uncontrollable. Homeschoolers have a high investment in their children's learning. In fact, for all the educational options, we have the highest investment in our children's learning. In your mind, you can see what you want to create, and then comes the hard truth. Your children are human beings, and they might not share your dreams. That making that dream a reality can feel all-consuming, but it can be hard. It's important that you not let it be all consuming, however. If compartmentalizing helps you, find a way to compartmentalize homeschooling so you don't talk about it all the time or think about it all the time. Set aside time for planning and figuring things out, and then chill and play and have fun with friends and family. Put the homeschooling part aside. Working adds another stressor. Now, I'm not going to go into detail about this because I don't have the specifics for your working situation. I worked from home almost as soon as I started homeschooling. I found the more structured I was about the hours I worked and the more I kept everyone informed when I had something big that I was working on, the easier it was from the parenting side. As far as balancing homeschooling and working, there were times when I prioritized homeschooling and I kept the people I worked with informed when that was happening. And there were times when I took a break from homeschooling because of work. For example, when I had a book coming out and I was doing a final review, it meant it was vacation time for our homeschool. I didn't try to stuff any homeschooling in there, which would have been a stressor for me. And because I was stressed out, I would be passing that stress along to my child. Maintaining balance requires a range of executive functioning skills. These cognitive processes are essential for managing time, staying organized, and making decisions effectively. When you have a lot of balls in the air, the ability to plan effectively is an important skill. Now, homeschoolers often try to compensate by overplanning, or sometimes they underplan. Have you noticed? The other thing homeschoolers like to do is cram in all the things. Be really thoughtful about this. It's important that you don't plan a year that's overwhelming to you and your kids, but a plan when you have a lot going on can be a lifesaver. Make sure it has enough structure, but don't be too rigid with your plan. Your plan should be developed to be of service to you. Let me repeat that. Your plan should be of service to you. So, because stuff happens, have some prioritization within your plan, ensuring that the more critical tasks are completed first, just in case something comes up. Like if you have a ninth grader and there's things they need for their transcript, that's a prioritization. But make sure that there's time for the fun stuff too, because time is the money of life, everyone. M- Many homeschoolers find that allocating a specific length of time for academic work is one effective way to maintain balance. Sorry. For example, math gets 45 minutes, as does ELA and science, that sort of thing. This works best if your philosophy for learning does not follow a set timeline for the mastery of concepts. This approach can be a problem, however, if you have a child who likes falling down rabbit holes or for projects like science labs, some of which take longer than others to complete. So let me be clear with that. So if some homeschoolers really love this approach where you say, we're going to do math for 45 minutes. As far as you get is as far as you get. And that works well if you have a child that can stay on task. It can be more problematic for a child who doesn't. However, I encourage you to listen to the rewatch of yesterday's talk. If you have a child who regularly takes a lot of time, they might be suffering from cognitive overload around the task. The okay. Uh, so sometimes I go off script. Like, where was I? There are two types of organization. Going off script before organization, kind of humorous. There are two types of organization that help for balance: physical organization and mental organization. If everything feels chaotic and you have never tried a systematical organization of materials, resources, and spaces, this is physical organization. I highly recommend you give it a try for a couple of reasons. One is that many kids thrive with an organized structure. It's one reason classroom teachers with their 30 kids maintain systems of organization. Organization has a dramatic effect for reducing cognitive overload, your kids and yours. Knowing where resources are and how to organize them is one less thing to be working on in the thinking part of your brain, and you eliminate the time spent looking for things when you're already super busy. The high level of organization I maintain in work situations is one of the reasons that I've been able to be as prolific as I am with content creation. I'm constantly creating 3 or 4 different things that I'm working on all during the same period of time. Mental organization is the ability to categorize and manage information in one's mind. This helps in keeping track of appointments, deadlines, and tasks. For a lot of us, it sort of is what it is as far as our ability at mental organization. For this, I would be thoughtful about where you might need some support and then find those apps that can help support you where you need it. So, for example, I try to put everything in my calendar. And that's because I am known in my family for remembering the correct time we need to be somewhere and honestly being off by a day or two. I have seriously shown up for my nephew's concert a day early. Yep, 24 hours early. And I've shown up for parties. Usually I'm a day early. I'm rarely late. Sometimes I'm 2 days early. I am not kidding you. My husband always keeps track of our calendar whenever we travel. I'm just so busy. I remember the event, but I can't keep all the time. So now Google Calendar, it's on everything I use. The ability to adjust plans and strategies in response to changing circumstances is a vital part of maintaining balance when unexpected events occur, such as a child needing extra attention or a work deadline shifting. That does sometimes mean letting things go. This is where prioritization is important. And perseverance helps you stay committed to long term educational goals. The incremental progress that happens with a lot of academic work can make perseverance challenging. It isn't unusual for homeschoolers to decide to change everything up without enough evidence about whether progress is being made. This is why I strongly recommend, whatever it takes, that you regularly save work samples and check for progress, because doubting yourself can make balance hard to maintain, and changing everything up in the middle is so chaotic. If you need to, you need to, but if you don't need to, it's nice to know. A growth mindset starts with you. I'm not talking about your children's growth mindset here. I'm talking about yours. It's a powerful perspective that emphasizes the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication and hard work. It's a way of thinking that focuses on growth, learning, and resilience. The best way for you to ensure your children have this mindset for themselves is to have it for yourself so that you model it for them. This mindset is incredibly beneficial for anyone in order to feel balanced. Embrace self compassion. Avoid self criticism and instead offer yourself the same kindness you would extend to a friend. A growth mindset begins with the understanding that your best effort is enough, which is good because it's really the best you can do. Now, I'll be honest, sometimes your best is not as good as someone else's, but sometimes it's better. It's not important at all in the situation, however. It's irrelevant because you are not them and they are not you. What's important is that every day you show up and put one foot in front of the other. You'll improve, you'll learn. That's enough. Imposter syndrome is a common experience where individuals doubt their accomplishments and fear being exposed as a fraud. Recognizing these feelings is the first step to overcoming them. Understand that these doubts do not reflect your true abilities or worth. A growth mindset is the best way to counteract imposter syndrome. You sort of walk your way or really grow your way out of it. You can help this along by replacing self doubt with positive affirmations and realistic assessments of your abilities, reminding yourself of your achievements and the effort you've invested in reaching your goals. If you really struggle with that, I encourage you to be honest about it and go into the C group and tell people how you're feeling. When I see people post about their self doubts, the love, the outpouring of love is really powerful. It gives me chills just thinking about how beautiful our community is in about lifting other people up when they are doubting themselves. Define specific, measurable, and achievable goals for yourself, and while you're at it, for your child. Clear goals provide a roadmap for tracking progress and celebrating milestones. And don't when I talk about tracking growth, the final outcome that you hope to achieve is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about staying one step ahead. That is an achievable milestone. This is so important for you to model for your child. When you and your child focus on achieving achievable milestones and small successes, that makes you more likely to recognize your own successes and to understand the value and importance and to have a growth mindset and recognize and celebrate them together. Every step is a step and worth celebrating. As a part of that, be present in your present. Yesterday already happened. Don't beat yourself up for it. It's over. Learn from your mistakes if you really view those as mistakes. Hey, and oh, by the way, tomorrow never comes. So, what are you going to do about it today and make it positive? You have to identify what's truly important to you and your child right now, the now you're living in. Focus your energy on these priorities and let go of unnecessary pressures or comparisons that don't contribute to your growth journey. Speaking in terms of Speaking of things to model for your child is how you evaluate the work you do. How do you evaluate you? I see homeschoolers do this all the time, and I was guilty of this more than once. And it's how I evaluated how I was parenting or home educating. Effective self evaluations can help you both maintain balance, but it's also really important to foster a healthy mindset. If this resonates with you, ask yourself what a supportive friend would say to you. And if you don't have anyone to go to, post your feelings or struggles and see, I'm back to that again. So there's the love you get on those will and internalize that. Don't think, but they wouldn't feel this way if they were at my house. Yes, they would. Yes, they would. A friend would likely offer encouragement, understanding, and positive reinforcement rather than criticism. The words you use in your internal dialogue significantly impact your self esteem and motivation. Be honest and be compassionate. Make that especially during difficult times. Aim to use positive, affirming language. This promotes self compassion and reduces self criticism in your children. They see you do it and they recognize, they see, and then they do it. They just start mimicking you. It can be very helpful to see yourself as a learner along with your child, because you are. You will make mistakes as you learn because, hey, you're only human. You'll grow as you learn. It all fits into a growth mindset. My son used to, I would say, oops, I made a mistake. And and I would tell them, I would say, or he would point out something that I had done that was a mistake. And I would say, well, yes, I'm going to keep making a lot of those because, or at least I hope I do, because I'm going to be making mistakes up until the day I die, because I'm human. That's the way you want to look at your life. But what do you do with those mistakes? And how negative do you view the word mistakes? Really? That's an opportunity for learning. Now, I know when people say that, a lot of times we're trite or we treat it as trite or trivial, but it isn't really. Those are diagnostic, mm, like moniker, little teeny tags for where we should focus in order to grow next. Demonstrate healthy emotional practices is really important. Prioritize activities that nurture. There's nurturing again. I love the word nurture. Your emotional well being. Discuss emotions openly, showing that it's okay to feel and express a range of emotions. That teaches your child the importance of emotional health and coping strategies. An important part of maintaining balance is the art of letting go. This can be challenging. It's really important to do if you have a lot going on because the more things you're holding on to, the harder it is to maintain balance. It also makes it more challenging to prioritize to get things done. And for most of us, it can make us feel overwhelmed, which can lead to distraction or irritability. So let's talk about how to consistently be able to let go of that net full of rocks. We are all bombarded with things we care about. One of the most important things you can do is decide if something you're spending a lot of time thinking about is in your control. If it isn't, I recommend you try to let it go. Doing this can be important for maintaining emotional balance. Letting go of things outside of your control, such as others' actions, past events, or unforeseen circumstances, helps reduce stress and focuses your energy on areas where you can make a difference. This acceptance allows you to direct your efforts toward constructive endeavors that are in your control. Perfect is an opinion word. Anybody who's listened to me has heard me say this so many times. This is so important. Perfection can be a significant source of stress and dissatisfaction. Letting go of perfectionism and embracing imperfection allows for more authentic experiences and reduces the pressure to meet an arbitrary standard. It encourages you to appreciate progress and effort over flawless outcomes. But if you still want to strive for perfection, in my educated opinion, your best is my definition of perfection for you. I always, what I really look for in the people I surround myself for, I like my favorite people are the people who love me, who are my friends because of my warts and wrinkles, not, not, they don't ignore my warts and wrinkles. They love me because of my warts and wrinkles. The area where there's the most flawed. And I love them for their warts and wrinkles too. Im- Uncertainty can make everyone feel like it's out of your control, but uncertainty is a natural part of life, and learning to embrace it can lead to greater resilience and adaptability. Letting go of the need for certainty and predictability opens you up to new opportunities and experiences. It involves trusting that you can handle whatever comes your way and viewing the unknown as a space for growth and discovery. This is really important for people homeschooling because I'm telling you, I don't care how much you plan things in as you're home educating your child, there's going to be things that you can't plan for that feel like they're out of your control, and embrace those and think about how you can make those positive and nurturing. Children feel unconditional love and admiration for their parent. I know that you are a parent who unconditionally loves and admires your child. Allow those same feelings that they have for you, this same perspective for yourself is all about practicing self-compassion and self-love. Acknowledge your worth. Treat yourself with kindness, just as your children would. This self-acceptance fosters a positive self-image and emotional well-being, creating a healthy model for your children to emulate. Now, it's no fun to go it alone. And when it comes to homeschooling, it's even more important that you have a support system. People you can bounce your ideas off of and get help and advice from. A support system provides a community of people who understand the unique challenges of homeschooling. We get you. Sharing experience with others in similar situations can offer valuable insights, practical advice, and emotional support. People sometimes wonder about the success of C. I started C because I needed this so badly. And we've consistently provided this for people in the secular homeschool community. It's all it was. It's this. And so we get you because we've been there. I get you. I've been there. Look for people who support you. Homeschooling can sometimes feel isolated. I was feeling isolated, and a support network can provide a much needed emotional boost. You have all provided that for me. Uplifting and positive people in your circle can encourage you during tough times, celebrate your successes, and help you stay motivated. Collaborating with others allows you to exchange teaching strategies, curriculum ideas, and resources. This can help you discover new approaches to homeschooling, keep your lessons fresh and engaging, and solve problems more effectively. A support system can offer practical advice, such as co-teaching arrangements, organizing group activities, finding people in your local community. This can lighten the load and make homeschooling more manageable. Being surrounded by positive, empowering individuals can inspire you. They can challenge you to think differently, encourage you to try new things, and provide a broader perspective on education and life. Seek these people out. Surround yourself with people like this. That not only enhances your resilience, but also makes the experience more fun and fulfilling. It bucket fillers. I one time had somebody ask me to be in a play for kids. I was the bucket filler. Be a bucket filler always in all spheres and find people who do that for you. I hope this helps you find balance. Please like, subscribe, click the little notification bell, leave a comment. I promise I'll come over and have a chat with you. Much love, everyone.